Last year, I watched the movie Do Revenge, and I was actually pretty impressed by it. It wasn't exactly the worst movie, and it wasn't exactly the best movie, but it was still pretty good. I liked the fashion, the storyline, the overall message. I liked how it was a pretty different teen movie than we've seen lately in the last 4 or 5 years. And I liked how it paid homage to teen movies of the past. So that's the point of this episode of what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about how Do Revenge is kind of like a Gen Z time capsule, while also explaining how it kind of like references teen movies of the past. So, to give you an overview of the movie, it's directed by Jennifer Kayden Robinson, with Rotten Tomatoes of 84%, with an audience review of 4.2 stars according to Google. The overview from Google is popular Drea wants revenge on her boyfriend for publishing her sex tape, and exchange student Eleanor is haunted by a rumor. The two teenagers team up to take action against their tormentors. To expand upon that, to dive in a little bit to the storyline, Drea is 17 and she's spent all that time cultivating this ideal perfect image of herself to get the life that she wants. Her dream is to go to Yale. So one night, um, the movie opens up with a party and she does this Teen Vogue interview, all set up by her boyfriend, Max. So after the party, Max asks her to make a little video for him because he's going to be so lonely. So she makes the video. Next day, it's all over school. She punches him, and the principal tells her, look, you need to channel all that anger on something else. And then also basically just tells her if she makes any other altercations with Max, she'll be expelled from the school. Eleanor is also tormented by the past by a rumor that a girl started about her, and it is assumed to be her first girlfriend, who's also a student at, I think, yeah, Rose Hill. That's the school, Rose Hill. So, her and Andrea decide we're gonna do revenge. We're gonna do each other's revenges. We're going to get even with them, not ourselves, but Eleanor is going to get even with Max, and Drea is going to get even with Eleanor's ex. To go in for inspirations of the movie, think of it as Clueless meets Heathers, mixed in with a little bit of Romeo and Michelle, with a dash of Mean Girls. You stir it up, and you get Do Revenge. That's kind of how I see it. The cast, it stars Riverdale's Camila Mendez, who plays Veronica Lodge on Riverdale for folks who don't know, but I'm pretty sure we all know. Stranger Things actress Maya Hawke, Euphoria actor Austin Abrams, Sophie Turner, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer star Sarah Michelle Gellar, also 2000s icon. I've seen two works of Sarah Michelle Gellar, Scooby-Doo and Cruel Intentions. I only seen some parts of Cruel Intentions. I mainly watched Scooby-Doo. That's where I mostly know her from. But she's a pretty good actress and very iconic. Just very iconic, you guys. And what's so interesting about the cast is how they're all just so, I don't know, they're just a unique bunch of people. And you just don't really expect them to even be working together. But you get them in a room and they surprise us. And it's very surprising. Like, who knew Camila Mendez and Maya Hawke would have such good chemistry? Like, they would have like such good vibes. They're like an they're just the duo we didn't know we needed. So surprising. Okay. The next section is the plot. Sorry, the plot. Okay, I already told y'all about this, about the plot, so we'll skip over that. But one of the notes I did have was the humor. You guys know that scene in the movie where Sophie Turner's just screaming, "I don't do cocaine. I don't even know what it looks like." You know, it's so funny. I just love that scene so much. The humor was, it was, you know, I can't explain it, but but that was a pretty funny scene. Also, the actress who plays like her best friend, Sophie Turner's character's best friend is also, I forgot the actress's name, but she's on the CW's Dynasty, and she plays Amanda Carrington. So it just started a lot of actors and actresses that I know of, but I haven't seen that much of. So I think it's just they just put together. They also put together like a unique group of underrated or you know unique actors. Next section is the fashion. I liked how the fashion told the story of each character. And kind of like researching for this episode, I didn't like come across like so much because I kind of was like writing this episode as like I got this episode idea out of a whim because I was kind of like going through a few things, but nonetheless, I still found a good bit of information. So the film's goal was to be flashy, but also make it entertaining and believable that the characters can afford such, like some of the pieces. And obviously the characters can afford like the extravagant pieces because like a lot of them are like very rich. But also I liked how the film was kind of like giving into like thrift stop. I cannot talk today. I liked how the film was kind of going into like thrifting and how it can be so fun and like it's so like and thrifting it is fun and you can get so many like good pieces and make it like a good outfit from thrifting. I liked how it delved into that with Drea and Eleanor with that scene, the makeover scene. So another note that I got from another note that I found was the film's costumes were inspired by costume designers' favorite 90s movies, Romy and Michelle High School Reunion, and 10 Things I Hate About You. So, here's how the information, the information, inspiration for Romy and Michelle kind of like came in. Or I think Clueless. Yeah, Clueless. Or both, really. Um, it's the school uniforms. It kind of like mixed in with like it had like different elements. The cardigans, I think, the pants. I think. Oh yeah, uniforms, shoes. I kind of like wrote a little bit of this down. That's kind of like how it kind of like gives some clueless clueless references in the outfits. Okay, I wrote down some like notes for Drea's fashion throughout the movie. It was bold. It was thrifted. Again, she was trying to fit into the world of her rich friends and uses thrifted pieces to create bold looks as a way to create the perfect image of herself. Her style was inspired by 90s supermodels like Claudia Schiffer and Naomi Campbell. Her makeup was also pretty bold and confident. I wish I took like note account. I didn't look up that much about her makeup, but again, that's like the one where I can like use for Drea's fashion as a whole. It's bold, but it's very her, and it's also very Camila Mendez, and it's also giving Veronica Lodge. It's also giving that too. Eleanor's fashion, it kind of like started off as like a casual, awkward girl kind of thing. You know, kind of like not wanting to like draw too much attention to herself. But as the makeover scene kind of like takes over, it kind of gives like more of a, oh, who is this girl? She's so confident and cool, you know. And Maya Hawke pulls off that awkward, that cute awkwardness so well, you know. So the notes for Eleanor's makeover scene, it's an aesthetic, it's an aesthetic inspired by a young Goldie Hawn, with Morissette describing her look as hipper with flowers and mood prints and warmer tones, and that's by Elle magazine. Social media kind of played in a factor of how it's kind of like Gen Z, mainly because of like how I guess like the leak scene. That's all I can. That's all I know. That's all I know. That's um the only thing I can connect to the social media thing is the leak scene in the movie. The other leak scene where Drea and Eleanor like leak the other girls' messages to Max, or how Instagram kind of like plays in a factor of I guess like this elitism for like the cool kids, I guess. And next up is kind of like one of the characters I wanted to talk about, Max. Okay. Max is kind of like a rich asshole. I kind of thought he had like a possibility of adding more depth to his character. Not like as a way to like excuse his actions because it's not really forgivable, but I kind of like wanted to see, hmm, maybe there's something more to him. You know, maybe he's under some pressure from his family to be the golden boy, and he's acting out and being shitty to people because of this pressure. Because I don't think anyone wants to be under a so much pressure to like be so perfect and cool and happy all the time. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. My thoughts on Austin Abram. He's a pretty cool guy. I watched some of his work lately. I've seen him on Euphoria. Season 2, though. Season 2, guys. If you guys haven't watched Euphoria Season 2, okay, so the 7th and 8th episode is where he truly shined. Ethan, his character on Euphoria, he just shined. Lexi's play was so iconic. It was so dramatic. Like, y'all, if you seriously, it really was dramatic. And all I remember from like I was just sitting there watching the episode going like, "Oh my God." It's so it's just the best. And that football scene, uh Zendaya was me, because I was like making facial expressions like Zendaya was doing in those scenes. I was like, "Oh my God." Okay. Uh yeah. I also watched this other show that he did for Netflix called Dash and Lily, and it's pretty good. It's pretty bingeable. And I still kind of like have it like downloaded like when I go to school because my phone has no data, and I kind of just watch it sometimes because I don't know, I just like the show. I also liked how he's a very versatile actor. He can play a shy character in one show, and he can play this arrogant douchebag in some movie. I like the versatility. I like actors who can be so versatile in their characters, although sometimes it's not really their choice. Sometimes their agents kind of like get the roles for them, and they can decline or not. But sometimes like sometimes like they're still like in a phase where they still have to like audition for roles and stuff. until like they get up to like a point where they can only just take offers only. I don't know, show business, but that's kind of how I think that's kind of how it works. But again, I liked the like Austin Abrams's versatility as an actor. Drea and Eleanor, like I said, Camila Mendez and Maya Hawke, they are the duo that we needed. Where were they? Seriously, like where were they? Like we need them. Like they're just like so fun to watch together. They just have such good chemistry. It doesn't feel forced. They just seem like they got along so well. And their characters are fucked up soulmates. I mean, like seriously, like they have some issues. Next section, Drea's friends. I only wrote 2 notes. They're fake, and they could have defended Drea. Look, I know that they've been friends for Max for like many years, and he's like a brother to you or something. But come on, y'all. What happened to women supporting women? Y'all know he leaked the video, and y'all still supported him. Y'all know he's a fuckboy, and y'all still support him. Seriously, like what happened to women supporting women? I guess that went away in that movie. It just wasn't given that. The next section is the soundtrack. When I heard Brutal in the opening, I I was just I I practically screamed. It was so good. That was the perfect way to start off a movie. Of course, Olivia Rodrigo would start. Of course, they would like use Olivia's song to start off a movie like this. It's how again, that's another reason how it's a Gen Z time capsule. I can look back at this movie in like 40 years and be like, "Oh my God." Like it's just so, it's good. The next song is Everybody is Dumb. That wasn't the song. It's the real song is Dum Dum by Madzi. I forgot to write down the artist's name, but it gives the movie kind of like a bubblegum pop vibe. It was in the trailer, and it was pretty fun. It made the it made the movie look very fun. That's all I can say. We're the Kids of America. I felt like that was another nod to Clueless, because Clueless started off with that song, and Happier Than Ever. It's very cathartic. Of course, they added a Billie Eilish song in the movie, and it didn't feel unnecessary, in my opinion, to add that song in the movie. It just, I don't know, I guess we kind of like added like some sort of like climax that we needed, of like Eleanor just looking in the mirror of like and being like, oh my God, what have I done? I don't recognize myself anymore. And I think Billie Eilish kind of like does that. And she is the goddess of angst. There, I said it. Billie Eilish is the goddess of angst. And if anyone who has, and if anyone says otherwise, I will gladly throw hands. Not really, but I'll just be like, hey, that's not cool. You're incorrect. I mean, I think you're incorrect. You know. The next section is Mean Girls references. The only Mean Girls reference that I can like draw from the movie is the clicks. So according to Gabby, played by Talia Ryder, we have the Instagram witches, the horny theater kids, the farm kids, and Rose Hill Royal Court, aka Drea's friends. So it's kind of like, in the movie Mean Girls, Janice goes, we have the jocks, the preppies, the JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat. I forgot. Oh my God, I completely forgot the other cliques. Janice and Damien, They're in a clique too, I guess. And then it's, the plastics. Uh, I completely forgot the other cliques in Mean Girls, but it's okay. So I made a small note about Eleanor and Max for the next section. Um, Obviously they do not end up together. I think it was kind of funny how Max thought they'll kind of have a will they won't they thing, even though it ill. But the next section is Eleanor and Gabby. Oh wait, I forgot to call this section that I'm doing is romantic pairings. That would have made more sense to y'all. So romantic pairings I'm doing. So Eleanor and Gabby, I think is a cute pairing. Gabby is nice and cool. Okay, so Drea and Max, they're both cackling people, perfect for each other, and that's kind of the problem. They bring out the worst in each other, and I think it's good that they broke up. That's kind of what I think. Drea and Russ, cute pairing. Russ seems like a good guy. You know, he's a cutie. And I kind of like wish we explored more of its character. Or maybe we did. Or maybe the movie did, and I just wasn't paying that much attention. But I don't really have that much of an opinion about them. Okay, now we're gonna like start dissecting a little bit of scenes, I guess. So the confession scene. I was kind of shocked of when I learned that Eleanor was actually the villain. Well, not the villain, but she was the one pulling the strings the entire time. And maybe, just maybe, the film was kind of like already like giving you clues that Eleanor was probably as not as how I put this. She was maybe like the director was already making it obvious that Eleanor was the mastermind behind everything. And maybe we just didn't really see it. And then when we rewatch it, and then when we rewatch it, we're gonna be like, oh my God, in that scene, that's what she meant. I should have figured this out. Okay, one scene in particular. The first scene that her and Drea are in, the car scene, when Eleanor explains the rumor scene, how she met Drea in camp. She told her that she liked girls. Drea made up this rumor that Eleanor tried to pin her down and kiss her. She told her this entire story, and Drea didn't remember, which is pretty funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's interesting how Drea didn't remember at all. Huh. Like, it should have sounded familiar to Drea, but she didn't remember. And then there's this other scene where they're in the bathroom and they decide to do each other's revenge. And Eleanor says, no, I don't want to see her pay. I want to see her burn to the fucking ground. That should have been another clue. Like, it sounded more intentional, I guess. Now, Max's confession kind of like dropped all hopes of like giving him more depth. It just kind of like sealed the fact that he was just this rich elitist asshole who just who will just like throw anyone under the bus to get what he wants. And I mean, it ruined all hope that maybe he did love Drea, I guess. But, it kind of like broke off that hope, I guess. But it was pretty satisfying when he got what he deserved. Sorry. It was satisfying when he got what he deserved, but I did think that maybe I don't know, maybe the entire movie could have been like a show. It would have been much more interesting. Could have been interesting as a show, but you know, maybe it was a little too quick. Anyway, the next section is the ending. I like how the film represents female friendship between Drea and Eleanor. We need more movies about female friendship. And I liked that was another message between Drea and Eleanor. I looked up this other thing, but it said that Drea and Eleanor realized that getting revenge on someone it won't necessarily make you feel better. In fact, it only makes you feel worse about yourself because of how nasty you have to be to go through with it. For example, Drea losing her chances of getting into Yale because she was so busy trying to take down Max, and Eleanor losing herself through her plan. My opinion on like getting revenge, sometimes like when you want to get revenge on someone, it sounds good in the moment because we just want that person to hurt as much as they hurt us. But I don't know, sometimes maybe it's maybe I don't know, maybe this quote does have a point because sometimes it does require you to like sink more lower than the person did in order to hurt you. And it doesn't make you feel better at all, it just makes you feel worse. So maybe the real I remember this other thing. The best at revenge is indifference. Living your best life. That's like the best revenge. Okay. Extra thoughts I have about the movie is one of the actresses looked like Selena Gomez. I can't tell you who, but it was just a character who I thought looked like Selena, and I was like, wait, is that Selena Gomez? Another thought is I felt bad for the girls who got exposed when they leaked their conversations with Max. When your information gets leaked or anything private gets leaked, you feel a little bit exposed. You feel violated because you didn't want that information to get out, and it did. And especially when it's leaked by someone who you sent it to, who you trusted, it's not very, it doesn't, I don't know, it ruins your sense of trust in general. And it's just so humiliating, especially if it is like nudes or like a video. Because like in that moment, like you're just thinking to yourself, well, I'm just making it for this person. And then because like, you know, sure, it's a little crass, but it's in the moment, you're just making it for them. But no one likes having their information leaked, and it's a pretty bad feeling. Also like how the movie was overtly queer. It's pretty fun. I liked the elements, the colors. I like, you know, it wasn't so confined to like heteronormativity. Yeah, the poly thing that they made up when Max's like conversation with the girls got leaked. It kind of like delved into that, like saying like, okay, like they're open, they have an open relationship. That was pretty interesting. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening to PiscesPrince. You can find the podcast on Spotify. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at PiscesPrince Podcast. You could follow my Instagram, nick.marshall02. I hope you enjoyed listening. And also, this podcast I might be uploading audio to YouTube to make, I don't know, like to make it more easier to find the podcast. But you can give this podcast a rating and hope you enjoy it. And I also hope that you have a good rest of your day or evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.